just about evergreen this weekend, but we need to mention about somebody's anniversary that was last week.
Yes, we had a great anniversary.
On Wednesday, June the 3rd, we celebrated 37 years. Happy anniversary to us.
Yes.
So, yeah, we missed you guys. Hopefully you've missed us and gone back and checked out a few episodes while we were on a little break. So we're back, and this can be kind of quick, man, with all the weddings we've had every weekend. You've got Evergreen coming up. I'm going to let you talk about that. Okay. And then I know we're just squeezing this in. You've got a Zoom call coming up. So this is probably going to be probably around a 30-minute episode. Hopefully we can get that in. But
you're welcome.
Lots of good stuff to talk about today.
Yeah.
Something very specific that I heard on a podcast. I'm going to share some of that, and then we'll just kind of get our reaction to it.
Maybe we could give
about marriage.
A little shout out to La Palmilla, a
let's do it.
Beautiful place in Glen Rose where you did the wedding for Josh and Lily, and we just took a little extra time to recharge. And man, that was such a great weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, torrential downpour for the wedding itself, but it's okay.
It rained hard, but they had the tent. Thank you. And the wedding was in the beautiful stained glass chapel. That was so gorgeous. Packed, standing room only in there.
Fun little story, in case you didn't see it on our socials, but about this sweet young couple, Josh and Lily, and we have their permission to share their story. And they actually shared something on our website, a reference, but their mom, Julie, as a Christmas gift in their stocking, gave them a little gift certificate for premarital sessions with us. Well, the kids did not know who we were at all. So Julie said she actually didn't even purchase it yet because she was going to make sure they would actually appreciate it and do it. And so on Christmas morning, they opened their stocking to find this gift certificate for long haul marriage premarital sessions. And they were like, "Oh, thanks. Yeah. Wow." And I mean, it just feels awkward. You don't know the people, and you're like, "Oh dear." Well, as they, talked about it a little bit more, and then I reached out to Lily and met her, and they just started, they decided, okay, you know what, this will be good. Let's just go all in. Let's do it. And so you and I just formed such a sweet relationship with them over, 4 or 5 times, and then met them for dinner after they graduated from premarital, and just formed such a sweet relationship. Then they wanted you to do the wedding. Yeah. And so it was kind of like an awkward stocking stuffer turned into a really incredible mentorship and friendship. So the wedding was so special this last weekend, and I just think that's the funnest. It was just a really fun story.
Seeing kind of when I see kind of two clans come together where both of them have a strong legacy of family and faith. You can just see all of their prayers for their future mates, that they didn't even know while they were praying, all of their growing up years that had come to fruition, and just how blessed they felt and how proud they were that their kid had found this other person that they believed the providential hand of God, had a hand in. So it was special.
Such
really
a precious,
special.
Precious couple. So
shout
real
out
quick,
to
Josh and Lily, Cody, Julie. Thank you guys.
Bless you on your journey. And we'll be here for the long haul with you. Talk about Evergreen real quick.
All right. This weekend, June 12th through the 14th, we will be in Granite Shoals, Texas, which is right outside of Marble Falls in Austin, about an hour
Does
outside
ZZ Top sing about that place in there? No? Okay.
Well, I don't know. You could look it up maybe.
All right.
But beautiful, beautiful Airbnb. And we have, I think, 11 ladies going, and then 3 of us leaders, and we have more spots. We still have a king suite available, and maybe like 4 different twin beds in the community room. Cool. And man, we would love, if you're hearing this or you've seen it and you're like, I'm right on the edge, today's the day. Pull the trigger. Go with us. So let me know if you've got questions about that, but you can search Evergreen Women under Facebook and find us there. We would love for you to steal away with us and just enjoy some time to rest, reset, recharge, all the re's. It's going to be a really sweet time.
And I know it's a lot of work, but I just love seeing you doing the prep for this. And ladies, if you're just, like she said, if you're on the fence, man, I just want to tell you, you're going to be blessed big time. And it's just, somebody said one time about going into a small group for the first time, it's like it just takes 10 seconds of courage if you can just walk to the door, because when you walk in, everybody's just so welcoming and you just feel great. That's not, I guess, every small group, but that was the way the 20-somethings used to describe walking in here and being just feeling so at home. But it's just so different than many of the experiences, the way that you've designed this. It's by design. It's not going to be just put it on autopilot, plug and play, your typical women's event or women's retreat. So, and just the getting into just the quiet and the mindfulness and the practicing the present and all that stuff. So looking forward to it.
Women of all stages, all ages. It's not just for a certain kind of, it's for everyone. So I'd love for you to join us for Evergreen this weekend. We still have room for you. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, shifting gears, I listen to all kinds of different podcasts, and a lot of times when I mention, let's just say JRE, it's like people say, "Oh, I hate Joe Rogan." It's not about Joe Rogan; it's about the people that he interviews, right? And so I'm really choosy. I'm very picky about, even if I like the Alex O'Connor Within Reason podcast, or if I like Smartless, the funny, Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes podcast, Conan, or Fly on the Wall, whatever these podcasts, I still look through and am very choosy about which guests that I spend my time on, because it's a subject that I'm interested in, right? So anyway, like him or hate him, Tucker Carlson has a podcast, and I saw him. It was actually a clip. That's where I usually do more deep dives. I see a clip on social media platform of a guest and the subject matter that they're talking about. And then sometimes I'll just go find that. Sometimes I'll listen to the whole thing, and sometimes I just listen to an extended clip there. But recently, Tucker Carlson was talking to Dr. Stephen DeYoung, and he's pastor of Archangel Gabriel Orthodox Church in Lafayette, Louisiana. And near the end, it was like an hour and a half in, it's when Tucker Carlson was basically talking about, where do you see Christianity flourishing? And and not just like as a religion or a belief system, but like practically, where do you see it? And then he asked him specifically, so where do you encounter God? Like, where do you see Christ at work in your life and in your ministry? So, and it was a great question, and I loved the response, but I want you to pay attention to Tucker Carlson's response when he hears something that Dr. DeYoung says about things that he encounters in ministry, and the way he kind of goes back to it. It's almost like he's very suspect and does and maybe doubts it. And it's like, really? You've seen that? So I want you guys to listen to this clip. Let me pull it up real quick and make sure everybody can hear this. Here we go.
Let me frame it differently. When was the last time? How do you experience God, like actual God's work? Day to day.
Well, so there's both within the services of the church, right? Because I see God very much working in that way. And it's not just the actual quote unquote worship service, but the time spent afterward in fellowship together, the life of the community, right? I see that continuously, right? I hear people's confessions. And confession is done a little differently in the Orthodox Church than the Roman Catholic Church, because we have this, as I said, spiritual fatherhood tradition. And so I've seen people come through and come back from some really difficult and terrible things.
Like what?
Well, I mean, I don't want to divulge anything.
Specifics, no names, but like what kind of things you're talking about?
People who have had the kind of traumatic childhoods that you see as the origin of a villain in a movie.
Yeah, like
right?
for real.
Yeah. That, and people who have gone down really dark roads of addiction and violence and come back from
committing violence
from that. Yeah. And marriages being saved, right, after things that should have destroyed them.
You've seen that.
You think, yeah. And so that all happens, right? It really does.
You've seen marriages totally blown up that are saved.
Yes. And it takes time and it takes a lot of work, and both of the people have to be on board. But there is healing there on offer from God. Part of the failure of
good night. I couldn't get it paused. So there it is. Wow. That's the clip. And so yeah, you notice his almost like shock, like, wait, really? He went back to it. Like you see marriages that have been totally blown up that are restored, that are put back together. And when I heard that, I thought, man, does Tucker Carlson not know that? Or maybe he does know that and he wants his audience to hear that, you know, because there's a lot of that when hosts are hosting. They know the subject matter very well, and they're not stupid, and they just want to emphasize it for the listeners. But either way, I just thought, man, we have to continue to get the word out that yes, absolutely. I mean, we talk about all these joyful premarital couples, and they're just they're starting their journey, and it's great, and we love being a part of that. And we love being able to share the wisdom that we've learned in our 3,500 couples and our 37 years of our own marriage. But so much of what we do is meeting with couples who are in crisis, who are in desperate need of transformation, and they're hanging by a thread many times. We heard from a woman last week who said, I just feel hopeless. And we hear that word a lot. I feel hopeless because this has gone on so long, and I haven't seen change, or it just keeps happening over and over. And maybe, I've forgiven, but I don't trust, right? Trust is future oriented. Forgiveness is past. And so when I heard that, I thought, man, I wish I could just Tucker, can I come on your show and talk about long haul marriage? You want to talk about transformations? Man. Yes, it happens.
Yes.
And like the guy said, he said, yes, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot, but with God's help and people who are committed to change, it can happen.
Yes. And I think about what I just said about Evergreen, about how every woman of every stage and every age is invited to come. I think about that with long haul marriage, the ages of the people, the stages of the marriages that we get to sit with and listen to and talk to and share hope with and offer a different perspective. It really is. I love the car analogy that we use for long haul marriage, but literally everything that could be looked at and tweaked and fixed on a car, from, I just need a little bit of air in my tires. Can you help me? Or my engine just blew, or my catalytic converter. I don't know all the car language, but everything that could absolutely happen, from the tiniest of little tweaks to a complete overhaul, is what we have seen and what we get to do every day. So I love that. And I do want more and more people to know that. I was shocked when I heard that interview with you that I thought, does he not know that that's possible?
And I think so many people have, if you're not Tucker's a professing Christian, and I don't know if he's part of a community of faith, go to church regularly, but many times, especially how the Washington environment he was in for so many years, and that, public broadcasting on, a major network, many times you see the destruction all around you, but you don't see the healing. You don't see the transformation. So just talking to a guy who's in the community of faith, who's doing that for a living, man, it gets to, and what I loved is that's the first place he went on. Where do you experience God in your life? Where do you see the power of God working? And he talked about, I see it in the services, in church, but then he talked about the stuff that happens afterwards in the community, right? With people coming together. And then he said in confession, and so he started talking about his pastoral work. And he mentioned these traumatic stories that could be, he's like origin stories for villains. And he kind of chuckled, in movies. And he's like, really, Tucker was like, really, like trauma. Absolutely. And I just want to, again, normalize that for everyone listening. That is exactly what we see. We've all had it. We've all been through it. And whether it's the loss of someone, with grief, divorced parents, it's people that you were molested or you were bullied or, abused in whatever way, physically, sexually, emotionally. Yes, we all live through that stuff. And this, and we were just recently talking about needing to maybe start a coaching business, coach the coaches.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we always do is before you get into what's going on right now with couples, no matter how long they've been married, or engaged, it's like, tell me about your family of origin. Tell me about your relationship with your mom and dad. Tell me about your siblings. Tell me about your childhood. What was it like to be you growing up? And then previous relationships and the baggage or issues that happened there. People that talk about, my dad was busy. He was working a lot. My mom and dad divorced when I was 4. I had some unfortunate things happen to me that were devastating by a sibling or by a babysitter or by an uncle or an aunt, or just the list goes on and on and on. I was bullied. My father was incarcerated. My mom was on drugs. And he talked about these people that were, victims of violent crimes. And then Tucker's like, or committed them, basically. And that's, when you get to church and you think about confession, you think about all these things we do. Oh, you sinner, you were violent. But again, what we do is unpack that and go back, because before that person was violent, almost, 100 times out of 100, violence was done to them. They grew up in it. They witnessed it. It was modeled or it was received by that person. And hurt people. And you're going to usually, and if nothing else, if let's say you're not going to be a violent person, you could say, man, I'll never do that. But a lot of times if it was done to you, now I'm going to medicate that pain if it's not healed. And now the stuff that they use to medicate, the drugs, the alcohol, the promiscuity, the workaholism, then we start calling that sin. And it is missing the mark, right? But there's a story, the backstory, the origin story, as DeYoung put it, that you have to dig into. And that's where we start with everyone. And now what we see is, good night, we've all got it. And I always tell people, I said, that was when I hear their story, and a lot of times they're talking about this stuff and they're kind of smiling through it or kind of laughing through it because they're ashamed. And it's like, man, I don't even like saying this out loud. And I'm like, man, don't be ashamed. You don't have to giggle at this. This is traumatic. And I said, this is not an overly dramatic word. This is traumatic for a child to go through. And the unhealed wounds of childhood, the unhealed wounds of previous relationships. I love the way John Eldridge puts it in his book, Wild at Heart. He says, the wound carries with it a message, and the message seems final and true because it's delivered with such force. And that is the thing that becomes our identity. And if we're believing those lies from the enemy, if we have the negative self-talk, that is the thing that's the energy, that's the belief, that's the identity that we show up with in our marriage. And then when that gets triggered, that trauma, that message, that wound gets triggered, left unhealed, we're going to be that person reliving. It is like PTSD, literally. And the spouse is looking, what? Who is this? And why are you showing up like this?
Yeah.
Right?
It's so interesting and really such an honor to be able to open up space for people to share things that they really, really and truly they're blown away sometimes at what comes out of their mouth. Sometimes just when you open up that space and allow them to kind of go back and think through some things in their past, what comes to their mind almost shocks them. They're like, well, I don't know, like this just came to my mind. Like, this is kind of silly. This was so long ago, but gosh, this just popped up when we were talking about it. And so they kind of like, they kind of try to minimize it and be like, well, maybe this is nothing, this is kind of silly or whatever.
How could this have to do with me 30 years later?
Yes. But then to as they trust us with that very sacred memory and, toss it out and go, well, okay, this is what came to mind. And we just sit there and kind of listen and then ask questions, and it goes a little bit deeper and just kind of help parse some things out for them. It is incredible to see that light bulb moment for them where they're like, oh my gosh, maybe this does have to do with why I react in such a volatile way, or why I'm so sensitive when, this is said or this is done. Maybe this is why my trigger is getting tripped with my wife or my fiance or whatever it is. It is really such an incredible work, I think, that we get to do. It's kind of like archaeologists. Like, we just dig just a little bit and ask questions and just to see what comes up for people. And so that's one of my favorite things, is just being able to sit with people as they untangle some stuff from their past and realize, wow, okay, so this was maybe a bigger deal. And I don't have to feel shame over that.
Yeah.
That wasn't my fault, or sometimes this was my fault, and I need to, almost like a confession, go into a confessional, get this off my chest. Tell somebody for the first time that I've never spoken of this before. Such an honor to get to do that with people.
Yeah. So many couples, when they come in, I've just, over the years, again, you see patterns when you've seen thousands of couples, and you realize, okay, is it just this, idiot man who's full of testosterone? He's angry, and he's just chill out a little bit and don't be angry. Or is there something that anger is covering? So if it's a covering emotion, and maybe there's some fear, there's your alarm.
There's my
maybe there's some fear there. Maybe there's some shame. Maybe there's some sadness. When I mentioned the father wound, so many men have that. And, you say, well, my dad, he was busy. He's working a lot, but I know he loved me, but he wasn't there for me, and we didn't really connect. He didn't come to any of my games. That's just such a common scenario, just that particular one. And then that man, if he doesn't know that he's got what it takes, because his father's never instilled that in him. He didn't say, man, I love you, I'm proud of you, you've got this. And then you've got this question mark hanging over your head. Do I have what it takes? And then you're looking for validation, maybe from a woman, maybe from your work, maybe from your peers, but you don't. So there's this deep-seated fear and insecurity. And many times then, if you were bullied or abused by your father, physically or even verbally and emotionally, you can feel shame. And that's shame, but then it's going to show up usually as anger. And so that's why, one of my first questions, tell me about your dad, right? But when you talk to these couples and you get to their family of origin and things that happened in childhood, and then you go to previous relationships. So I talked about previous relationship baggage, and then you just let them go wherever they want to go. But so many people have had a bad experience. Either they've been in an abusive, controlling kind of relationship, or they were cheated on. And so that I've talked about the betrayal wound and what that can do. So that leads to one, insecurity, and like, man, this could happen again. And then this hypervigilance, and you're looking for it, and maybe you become suspicious or insecure or controlling or jealous or whatever. But more insidious than that is the lie. There's something wrong with me, or they wouldn't have cheated on me. Why does this keep happening to me, And so there's just so much to heal. But if you don't have that intel from previous relationships and from their childhood, then you really, you're just shooting in the dark. You don't know. And you're going to start dealing with these surface level emotions, these presenting things that are happening in the relationship, but you have no context and you really don't know the root of them.
Right. It's like putting someone that needs some internal work, open heart surgery, or go in and figure out what's going on inside. And you're like, here, let's just slap a Band-Aid on it. That looks like, oh, wow, okay, I think that's helpful. until it's not. And then you're like, wow, why does this keep coming back? You know, it's like when I'm pulling weeds and I just pull it from the top and you're like, whoo, okay, well, that looks better.
Yeah.
But then the root is still down there. So it's just going to pop right back up, you know?
And before we call it for today, I just do want to highlight one thing that DeYoung said too. It's when he said, when both partners are willing.
Yes.
So many people hear this and think that's BS, man. I prayed about this. I tried so hard. But with infidelity, with addiction, with abuse, with all kinds of things, we have seen major transformation, but it's when both people say, I need to repent. I need to change.
Yeah.
I need help. I will do the work. I will commit to the work. I will commit to this process because this isn't just, oh, I'm sorry. And now, oh, I'm good. No.
Yeah.
Or thank you, Jesus, because you died for me. It's no. There's going to be a death of you before there's a resurrection. So that the truth of the resurrected Christ in you is going to have to become manifest in you.
Yes.
Dying to the person who has been hurt, who is now hurting in your current relationship. And that's sometimes a long process.
Yeah.
I love how the immediacy, if you will, of the filling of the Holy Spirit. Some people talk about these dramatic transformations when they, their eyes are open, they see the light, kind of like the Saul to Paul.
Yeah.
I saw something that changed me. I felt something. It was this infilling, indwelling of the Holy Spirit. But many times what that is, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. If you're walking south, you first have to recognize, oh, I need to turn around and go north.
Yeah.
But the minute you turn around, that 180 degree nautical turn is repentance, but you're still way south. You've still got a long walk many, many times to go north.
Yes.
And so I just want to say that for people, if you're desperate for change in your marriage and you're thinking, man, it's so beyond, hope, we're just hopeless, or if they only knew the abuse, the destruction, the damage, the infidelity, all the traumatic stuff that not just we've been through in our past or previous marriages, previous relationships, but in this one, like the damage we've done. Hey, we've seen it. If two people are willing to change, there's hope.
Yes.
And we've seen the power of God transform literally. We are 37 years in, living testimonies to that.
Yes. And can I just make a quick note on something else? In case someone's listening and you're like, man, they've talked about the family of origin stuff and man, the trauma and the, past relationship stuff and addiction or abuse and just some really horrific things. Sometimes you may be listening going, you know what, that's not really me. I came from a family that, man, I felt loved. I felt safe. I felt protected. I had a fun childhood. But still, why am I struggling in my marriage? What's interesting, and Brian and I, you and I have seen this with each other. We both came from really incredible, loving families who stayed together, till the day they died. But no one is perfect, and they all have their stuff that they bring in as they parent us. So we've told our own kids, man, we did the best we could. We love you guys, and I think we gave our kids tons and tons of gifts and a good head start on life. But man, we've told them you're probably going to need to see a counselor and talk about the way that it's because it's two completely different people, husband and wife, man and woman, coming into this relationship with just a different way of seeing life. And so sometimes it just takes kind of parsing some of that stuff out and figuring that out. So whether you came from a really rough start in life or a tough past relationship, or you had the gift of a loving, beautiful family, but still are struggling, we can help any and all of that. And we are so honored to sit with people and do that. So let us know if you need help. Go to our website if you haven't checked it out at longhaulmarriage.org.
longhaulmarriage.org. Good.
It's a great website.
Jamie at longhaulmarriage.org or Brian at longhaulmarriage.org, email addresses. And I'm making an announcement. We are done with the later sign off.
Okay.
We're going to come in. We're coming in with a new sign off. And it's not bye and it's not later. You know what it's going to be?
Oh, I don't know. I'm scared.
You're scared?
I'm scared. What is it? Do any of y'all know what he's about to say? Because I don't.
No, but it's got to be something like the "by" that you can parlay into all these other phrases and words to where it's coming up. And later, there's only so many you can do.
So, do you have one?
Yeah. I've got one.
Okay,
I'm just keeping you suspense. You know what it is?
I'm ready.
I think it's going to be.
Drum roll.
Adios.
Oh my God.
No.
What? No, just kidding. What is it?
Oh, let's do. No, I'm just making it up. Let me go with, but I just didn't want to do later. So everybody still with us? How about some people are thinking, let's do this. Let's do, I got one.
See ya.
Oh, that's a good.
I don't know.
Yeah. So here we go. So if you need help for your marriage, at longhaulmarriage.org, you can find a panacea of solutions.
What? That's horrible.